Watch what Kamala Harris says in regards to Jimmy Kimmel getting his show back and how she views this as traction and momentum and how the Democrats are going to take control once again. You guys are not going to believe the delusion coming out of this one.
Community standing up for the rights of Jimmy Kimmel and all people who speak in public, entertainers and we're journalists and all of them. And it worked, at least with the head of Disney. And it makes good sense because they would have won in court. One thing that gets lost in this, you do not lose your First Amendment rights because you have a broadcast license. The Supreme Court has been clear on this. The government cannot take your license because of speech they don't like.
The liberal media coming to the defense of Disney and their decision to allow Jimmy Kimmel's show to go on. Let's bring in political media personality Emily Wilson and political commentator Brylan Hollihan. Thank you both for coming on. Brylan, to you first. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel has the right to say whatever he wants, but he does not have the right to say whatever he wants on ABC. That's the catch of this whole thing. What do you think about that comment?
We were spot on, Trace, and Jimmy Kimmel's return is good news for small businesses all across this nation, as I think the liberals were prepared with their pitchforks to start rioting and looting some of these downtown major cities if we saw this vacation for Jimmy Kimmel continue any longer. I was actually rooting for ABC here. I thought that this was going to be finally their clean opportunity to wash their hands free of Jimmy Kimmel, who has been wasting them millions of dollars for the last decade. Genuinely, Disney makes better views off of Mickey Mouse reruns than they do off of Jimmy Kimmel's tapings every night. I mean, this is an unfortunate state in the country right now, but I guess we'll see Jimmy Kimmel back on air. Ratings plummeting tomorrow night.
The interesting thing about this is that now he's off in 38 major cities across the country, and you think ratings were down a couple of weeks ago. Wait until you see what they are a couple of weeks from now. Kamala Harris made her first big national interview tonight on the Rachel Maddow show, and she said this about the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. Watch.
I mean, talk about the power being with the people and the people making that clear with their checkbooks. As it relates to the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel. We saw the power of the people over the last few days, and it spoke volumes, and it moved a decision in the right direction.
Kind of makes me happy. I can't really still understand exactly what the point she's trying to get at here, but she's trying to think Jimmy Kimmel's making a bunch of money and that ABC's got to put him back on the air. They're going to lose money. He's losing money. The show is losing money. Emily.
What I love about her is she just says a whole lot of nothing every time she talks. I know she's coming out with, I think, her book, 170 Days or whatever it is. And I was like, I bet there's never been a ghostwriter in history that has been that stressed out because she can't even make a coherent sentence. I know she is not writing a book, but it's so funny. They actually, Trump personally took him off. I also think it's funny because what about the left when they're like, eat the rich? I'm like, he's worth like $50 million, you guys. If there's anyone you should feel bad for, it's not him. His rating, he's not funny. His ratings aren't good. And also, like, no one violated anything. Trump did not go attack him personally. I just think it's so funny. He's just not funny. No one wants to listen to him or watch him anymore. It's very simple.
I think he's worth a lot more than $50 million. You got to be worth a couple of $100 million. Been doing it for a long time. Brylan, back to you. Kamala, she can't go on a national show and not comment about the president of the United States. Watch.
Right now we are dealing with, as I called him at my speech on the ellipse, a tyrant. We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now, Donald Trump. And these titans of industry are not speaking up. And perhaps it is because his threats and the way he has used the weight of the federal government to take out vengeance on his critics is something that they fear.
If you're looking for original content, Brylan, you got to look to Kamala Harris because calling Trump a dictator is I haven't heard that before.
I am fed up, Trace, with the Democrats telling us to turn the temperature down in this nation and then continuing to compare Republicans to Hitler. This is what got us into this position of the country today. But I want to be extremely clear that every single time that Kamala Harris opens her mouth, the Republican Party gains more voters. So we encourage Kamala Harris to continue her press tour, to continue her speaking tour, to go to college campuses and continue to talk to young people, because every single time that she speaks to the next generation, Republicans flood in this direction. And it's a great, great move for our party.
Yeah, finally, Ben Shapiro calling Charlie Kirk a right-wing warrior. Watch.
But the reality, of course, is that Charlie was, in fact, a right-wing warrior, and pretending otherwise would be silly. He was somebody who engaged in the political combat that is a blood sport that characterizes our politics. And, again, I think that pretending that Charlie was some sort of apolitical figure would be to ignore part of his legacy, which is that he was a very partisan fighter in a very partisan time.
He was partisan, and it is a partisan time, but that's not to say that he wasn't fair in the way that he went about these discussions on college campuses.
Yeah, no, he was definitely a political figure. He was discussing politics.
Right.
But he did it with such humanity, and that's something we really don't see. I mean, he's the only person his videos are bigger now than ever. You watch him, and it's like, no matter how horrible the person on the other side is, you're like, he really cares about them. Yep. Like, he actually wants them to be better and to change for the better and be happier and be healthier. And it's like, I just don't see that, so much, and it's so heartbreaking. But he was just more than, I don't know. He was very godlike, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
A beautiful person.
I can't count how many times that somebody would come up and say F you to him, and he would say, well, I want you to look at it like this.
Yeah.
And that's, time after time. Brylan, Emily, thank you both.
The fact of the matter regarding Jimmy Kimmel, I am the biggest advocate for free speech and letting anybody speak, no matter if I disagree with them. But in regards to him, he knew what he said was a lie, and he purported that to the masses because it would help his own agenda. It would help the Democrats look better, how MAGA is turning against one another and we're trying to take out our supporters. But do I believe that Jimmy Kimmel has the right to say that? Not quite, because he's on national TV. It's not only him. This is not his own personal TV show. He's working for what, ABC? There are executives that say, you know what, this is poorly timed, ill taste, the man just died and you're basically spitting on his grave. Have some decorum, have some class. So yeah, let's get rid of you because we want somebody else. We want somebody fresh. If you want to have these beliefs, you can post it on your own social media because I believe everybody should be free to say whatever the heck they want on there. However, if you're going into your job and people's lives depend on what you say, think about the cameraman, the director, the producer, the people who are working behind the scenes. They weren't making money because Jimmy Kimmel was a fool and he was talking nonsense. If you want my opinion as to what I would do if I was the CEO at ABC, I'd go to Jimmy Kimmel and I'd have a sit-down conversation and I would say, why'd you do it? Did you actually believe that this was true? Yes, no, he'd probably lie, make up some bogus, and I'd say, too bad, this was poorly timed, ill taste, get out of here, I'm hiring somebody new. But in regards to Kamala Harris thinking that this is making a difference, and the fact that Jimmy Kimmel got reinstated shows that speaking out works and how we have to fight back against this tyrant who is Donald Trump, these people pretend that they're so hell-bent on protecting people's freedom of speech that they were the first people who were cheering and going crazy as soon as Donald Trump had his social medias taken away from him. Hypocrisy is completely unbearable because they don't see anything wrong with that. Jimmy Kimmel spouted an absolute lie on national TV, whereas Donald Trump did nothing wrong and they took away his private social media account, but Jimmy Kimmel was advocating and he was representing a whole network and they reinstate him. They don't say, you know what, we kind of did cheer when Donald Trump lost all his social medias, but now it affects us and our side, so we're going to get pissed off about it and we're going to try and fight back. But what do you expect when you're talking to the #1 DEI hire in all the world, Kamala Harris, the person who was only chosen because she's black or Indian or whatever the heck she is? There is absolutely no hiding it. What did she do? Name one accomplishment she's ever had in her career. I'll wait. Every time she opens her mouth, the Democratic voters starts shifting to the right because they say this woman doesn't know what the heck she's talking about. She pretends she's a philosopher. We are unburdened by what has been burdened or whatever the hell she said. She just makes no sense and we could thank God that she did not get in because this country would have been drastically worse had she. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. What do you think is going to happen with the Jimmy Kimmel situation now that he got his show back? Do you think they're going to cancel him after the next quarter? Do you think he's going to stay on for another 10 or so years? Or do you think they might replace him soon? Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear that. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash out, like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.